Welcome to our deep dive all about Barbie.
Barbie.
Yeah, you know her,
Icon.
the icon exactly.
Mm-hmm.
She's the doll with the dream house and the endless wardrobe. But her story,
Oh, yeah.
it goes way deeper than pink and sparkles. We're going to uncover
Way deeper.
way deeper. That's right. We're going to uncover a surprising history from her controversial beginnings to her role as, believe it or not, a reflection of changing ideas about women
Really a reflection of us.
over the past 60 years.
Yeah.
And our guide for this journey is M.G. Lord's book, Forever Barbie, which is like the ultimate unauthorized biography
That's fantastic.
of this iconic doll.
And you know what I think is really cool about this book is that M.G. Lord brings such a unique perspective.
Oh.
She isn't just like a scholar researching Barbie like from afar.
Right.
She's someone who grew up playing with her.
Yeah.
So she has this personal connection to the story.
That's so interesting. So, okay, let's unpack this. The first shocker is that Barbie wasn't born in America.
Nope.
Her roots are actually
in Germany.
in Germany. And this is where it gets interesting.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
She's based on a doll named Lily, who was originally marketed as a gag gift for men. Almost like a three-dimensional pinup.
Exactly. Like a pinup.
Yeah.
I mean, Ruth Handler, Barbie's creator, she discovered Lily during a trip to Europe and saw potential, but envisioned something different for her American counterpart.
Yeah.
Handler wanted to create a doll that was aspirational, career-driven,
Okay.
and reflected the changing roles of women in society.
So from a risque gag gift to a symbol of female empowerment,
Yeah,
that's quite a transformation.
that's a big jump.
And what's even more fascinating is that this all happened in 1959,
Yeah.
a time when baby dolls were the norm.
Reinforcing traditional expectations for girls.
Right. Like that's all there was
Right.
for little girls to play with.
Yeah.
You know,
So Barbie,
yeah,
with her career aspirations and fashionable outfits, was a total game changer.
totally. I mean, she offered a different vision for young girls.
Yeah. Encouraging them to imagine lives beyond traditional roles.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this didn't come without pushback.
Right.
Can you believe the male toy buyers at Mattel
Oh, really?
were initially horrified by Barbie's wealth figure,
Oh, my God.
fearing public backlash?
Well, I can only imagine the conversations at Mattel headquarters.
Oh, no, I know.
But Ruth Handler stood her ground.
She did.
And that's where Mattel's marketing genius really shines.
Yeah.
They took a bold step and started advertising directly to children on television,
Wow.
bypassing those hesitant buyers and putting the power in the hands of little girls who immediately wanted the doll they saw on their screens.
Smart move.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant move that directly led to Barbie's phenomenal success. I mean, they sold 350,000 dolls in the first year alone.
Wow.
But Barbie's journey wasn't all smooth sailing.
Right.
As she gained popularity, she also became a lightning rod for cultural anxieties, with people projecting their own values and fears onto this little plastic figure.
It's so interesting. M.G. Lord even describes her as a Rorschach test for society, a blank slate onto which people projected their evolving and often conflicting ideas about femininity,
Yes.
beauty, and a woman's place in the world.
That's exactly it. You had some mothers worried about Barbie's influence, while others appreciated her message of ambition and style.
Right.
And then there was the rise of feminism, which brought its own critiques of Barbie's image. Second-wave feminists, for instance, criticized her unrealistic body proportions, seeing her as a symbol of objectification.
So here we have this groundbreaking doll designed to empower girls simultaneously facing judgment and criticism from various corners of society.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about the power of a cultural icon,
Right?
especially one aimed at young minds, and how such a seemingly simple thing can spark such intense debate.
Well, it really highlights the fact that even objects intended for children can tap into these deep-seated cultural anxieties and become battlegrounds for competing values. And Barbie, with her impossibly perfect proportions and ever-expanding wardrobe, became a symbol of both progress and constraint, embodying the very tensions of a society grappling with changing gender roles.
It seems like she was constantly caught in this tug of war between tradition and change,
Yeah.
trying to evolve with the times while also staying true to her core identity.
And that evolution is deeply intertwined with the history of feminism itself,
Right.
reflecting the changing waves of this movement and its impact on our understanding of womanhood. But that's a conversation for our next segment, where we'll delve into how Barbie navigated those cultural shifts and what her transformations reveal about our own evolving ideas about gender and identity.
So we left off talking about how Barbie became this lightning rod for cultural anxieties around femininity. But she didn't just stay frozen in time, right? How did Barbie navigate the changing landscape of feminism over the decades?
You know what's really interesting is how Barbie's image seems to have shifted alongside the different waves of feminism. Take third wave feminism in the 90s, for example. This wave really emphasized female empowerment and individual choice, including embracing things like fashion and beauty if a woman wanted to.
So you're saying that maybe this wave of feminism softened some of the earlier criticisms of Barbie's hyper-feminine presentation. Like it's not about dictating what women should or shouldn't like, but rather letting them express themselves however they choose.
Precisely. It's about agency. A woman can be a CEO and love wearing pink, right? Now, fast forward to the 2010s, and you see the rise of fourth wave feminism with its focus on intersectionality, body positivity, and inclusivity.
And this is where Mattel made a huge move, introducing more diverse body types and features in 2016. Suddenly you had tall Barbie, petite Barbie, curvy Barbies with different skin tones and hairstyles. It felt like a real turning point.
It was a significant shift, for sure. It acknowledged that beauty comes in many forms and that representation truly matters. Now, some might argue this was driven by market pressures rather than pure altruism, but regardless of the motivation, it resonated with a lot of people.
I remember seeing those new Barbies on the shelves and thinking, wow, things are really changing. Do you think that was a genuine response to the calls for more inclusivity from the fourth wave of feminism? Or was it more about Mattel trying to stay relevant and appealing to a new generation?
It's tough to say for certain what their true intentions were, but what's undeniable is that it sparked conversations about representation diversity and what it means to be a woman in the 21st century. Barbie, once seen as a symbol of unattainable beauty standards, was suddenly embracing a wider range of body types and appearances.
And speaking of evolving ideas about women, let's not forget the men, or rather the lack of focus on them. It seems like Ken has always played second fiddle to Barbie, often relegated to a supporting role.
I know, it's almost comical how little attention he gets. Even M.G. Lord in her book describes him with this hilarious quote, "A gnat, a fly, a slave, a Garby, a eunuch priest, and a goddess called as he should be." Poor Ken seems to have been grappling with an identity crisis from the very beginning.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why has Ken always been such a peripheral figure in Barbie's world? Is it a reflection of societal expectations about men and masculinity, or is it simply a result of Mattel's marketing focus on girls?
That's a really insightful question, and one that M.G. Lord explores further in her podcast, The Barbie Tapes. She actually dives deep into the controversy surrounding Ken's, shall we say, anatomy, and how that played into his evolving image. If you're curious, we'll include a link in the show notes.
So back to Barbie and her incredible journey through the decades.
Yeah.
After all these changes, all this evolution, what do you think she represents today? Is she still relevant in a world where girls have so many other role models and sources of inspiration beyond a doll?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, there's no easy answer. On one hand, she's still a global phenomenon, a billion-dollar brand that continues to capture the imaginations of children worldwide.
And let's not forget the power of that new movie. It seems to be tapping into a wave of nostalgia while also trying to reframe Barbie for a modern audience. It'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
Absolutely. It's a tricky balancing act. But I think what's important to remember is that at her core, Barbie is a blank slate, a canvas onto which children can project their own dreams, stories, and identities.
It's like she's this mirror reflecting our own evolving ideas about ourselves and the world around us. She can be a symbol of progress, a source of controversy, a reminder of childhood dreams, and maybe even a tiny agent of change.
What fascinates me is that even after all these years, this little plastic doll continues to spark conversation and challenge our assumptions. She forces us to confront our own evolving ideas about gender beauty and what it means to be a woman in the 21st century.
And that's what makes her such an enduring cultural icon. So after this deep dive into Barbie's world, what do you think she represents today? Is she a feminist icon? A relic of the past? Or something else entirely?
It's a really, really fascinating question.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been praised and criticized, embraced and rejected, and throughout it all, she's remained a powerful symbol,
Yeah.
reflecting our evolving attitudes towards gender beauty and consumerism.
You know, it's almost like she embodies those very contradictions we see in our culture. The progress we've made, the issues we're still grappling with,
Yeah,
it all seems to play out in Barbie's story.
exactly. And that's what makes her so compelling. She's more than just a doll. She's a cultural artifact that can spark important conversations about who we are and what we value.
It's amazing to think that a toy can hold so much meaning both personally and for society as a whole.
It really is. Think about that story from M.G. Lord
Yeah.
about dressing her Ken doll in Barbie's clothes as a way to cope with her mother's illness. You know, it shows how children use these toys to process complex emotions and navigate their own worlds.
It's a reminder that these seemingly simple objects can have a profound impact on our lives. They can be sources of comfort, inspiration, and even tools for understanding ourselves and the world around us.
And sometimes they can challenge us to think critically about our own assumptions and biases, to question why things are the way they are and imagine how they could be different.
So the next time you see a Barbie, whether it's in a store, a movie, or tucked away in a box of memories, take a moment to really look at her. What do you see?
What stories does she tell? What conversations does she spark for you? Remember, the objects and icons that surround us are often more than meets the eye. They hold layers of meaning, history, and cultural significance just waiting to be explored.
And that's the beauty of a deep dive like this. It encourages us to look deeper, question what we think we know, and discover those hidden layers of meaning in the world around us.
Barbie might be made of plastic, but her impact is far from superficial. She's a reminder that even the most seemingly simple things can hold profound cultural significance and offer valuable insights into who we are and how we've changed over time.
Well, thanks for joining us on this journey through Barbie's world. We hope you learned something new and maybe even had a few aha moments along the way. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those deep dives going.